As of late, people have been claiming that gaming is dying and corporate greed has taken over. Like, games becoming more and more expensive with less and less effort being put into them. And all that there's left to do is to relish the old games and replay them until the heat death of the universe. But I don't think that's true yet. Definitely could happen in the future. While, yeah, there are some gaming companies out there that are doing scummy things for their games, consoles, and accessories. There are still a lot more games out there that are still worth playing, and games that are coming out that will be worth playing. And when I say that, I more specifically mean indie games. Now, instead of spending this whole video saying how indie gaming is the future and AAA companies can suck my nuts, I'm more here today to just give you guys some fun indie game recommendations that personally I love a whole lot, and hope you guys can find your new favorite indie game to play over the summer. Something to do. I will also have a timestamps throughout the video, so if you guys want to jump around, it'll be right there for you to see. If you see a game you recognize and you want to go check out what I think on it, you can jump over. And just because I've been forgetting to do this in some of my other videos, please subscribe if you haven't. I have a lot of bigger videos on the way. I'm working on two very big videos, and still working on a lot of other ones. The goal is to keep uploading until sometime in 2026. So please subscribe. Goal is to reach 1K by the end of the year. So if you could subscribe, that'd be a big help, and enjoy the video. Ultrakill is a game most people know by now, but I thought it would be at least worth talking about. It's a first-person shooter that is extremely fast, and while you can play the game in an easier difficulty, for me at least, the real fun is mastering each weapon, learning how to combine the weapons to do even stronger attacks and beat the level in even faster times. But if you're not interested in speedrunning the levels of the games, it also does have an interesting story to back it, giving you just another reason to play the game. And then you have, for the completionists, you have P ranks you can get, where you don't die once and you get an S rank on kills, time, and style. You don't get anything cool, but you can flex to your friends that you played each level perfectly, which they probably won't care about and tell you to take a shower, but hey, it's cool to look at. I also lied. You do get something for P ranking every level. Once you P rank every level in an act, a hidden door will open. And that unlocks a Prime Sanctum level, which is meant to be one of the hardest levels in base game, if we're ignoring Encore mode. Putting you up against bosses that will show you how ass you are at the game. Like, if you had any confidence, it'll tear it all down. It'll make you feel like you're a piece of shit and you should die. Unless you lock in, of course, locking in this game has to be one of the most amazing feelings. It's like you get in the zone. It feels like you surpassed human limitations. Like, this isn't a joke. Like, look at these people. How are they doing that? So, for the people who like a good challenge, with a cool style, and an interesting story, Ultrakill is an amazing game to get. It's also pretty cheap. Only $25 for a game that has a shit ton of content, and it's not even done yet, so they're only going to be adding more. They just started adding Encore levels, which is pretty much an entire new section of the game that we didn't even know was coming. So that's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, if you, a first-person shooter that is kind of like in this style suits your likes, I'd suggest getting this game. This next game is a personal favorite of mine, Tunic. At first, I was very hesitant to buy the game because the whole point of the game was you collect these pieces of the game manual, which teaches you secrets and tricks about the game, like how to sprint and, you know, these secret combos to open certain doors. And so, while the first playthrough would be amazing, it felt like after that, the major reveals are no longer that cool, especially for like 30. In my eyes, it was not worth it. Then that's how I initially felt, but I ended up taking a chance on the game, and I do not regret it. It is a Souls-like game with gameplay similar to The Legend of Zelda, with a Metroidvania and puzzle aspect to it. The graphics are beautiful, the soundtrack is beautiful, like, the game's just beautiful. Even after my first playthrough, there are secrets in the manual that open up a whole post-game of secrets to find. Plus, the game-changing reveals you find from the manual are complex codes that would be hard to remember, so making another playthrough still entirely worth it. Like, the feelings I just got from this game was amazing. And you could tell the devs truly did care for this game and wanted to make it the best it could be. And I wholeheartedly believe they achieved that. So if you want a challenging PvE puzzle-based game, this checks all the marks. I won't go too deep into this next game because I plan to make an entire video on it sometime in the future. I don't know when that will be yet. But Animal Well, it is my favorite indie game of all time. Nothing's past it. Fuck Five Nights at Freddy's, obviously. Fuck fucking Bendy and the Ink Machine. Any big indie game, fuck it. Animal Well is my favorite. It is the best indie game I've ever played. And if I were to ignore the games I love for nostalgic reasons, like fucking Pokepark and Mario Galaxy 2, this would be my favorite game of all time, realistically. It's very similar to Tunic, since it is a Metroidvania and puzzle game, but the thing I love most about it is that there is no combat. You aren't allowed to fight anything. It gives you this, not helpless feeling, but a feeling of fear for what could be next. Everything feels mysterious, like you were just plopped in there and you have no help and you're just like going through this giant area clueless and not helpless, but you know. So, you may not understand what I mean by this now, but if you get the game and you play it, you will understand why I love this game and what I am talking about. The puzzles in this game are hard, but not hard enough to where you would need a guide. There are some, but those are all post-game puzzles that do take a decent amount of brain power. But just for the initial story and like playthrough, all the puzzles still require brain power, but like, it's challenging. It's not challenging enough to where you get upset, but it's just challenging enough to where it feels good when you solve that puzzle. You can sit there for a little bit being like, what do I do? It's like, oh, you gotta get the timing right on this, and then you do, and it's an amazing feeling. But on top of the puzzles that you have to solve to progress, you also have to do puzzles to get eggs, which are the collectibles that give you access to new tools, which you can usually find throughout the map. Most of these tools make traversing the map completely different. Some of them are just for puzzles, some of them can be used to move around the map in completely different ways. By the way, if you've seen anything on Animal Well, you'll know this. This game took 7 years to make. It was made by primarily one person, Billy Basso. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Oh, I don't think I did. But, the care put into every aspect of this game just shows how much Billy cared for this project and wanted it to be perfect. The amount of effort put into the graphics, the OST, the sound design, the puzzles, the entire post-game, and ARG on top of that, it's amazing. This is a one-of-a-kind game that doesn't come around often. And for $25, I would say it is more than worth it. I could talk more about this game, but you'll have to wait for the full video I make on that sometime in the future. If you ever played Pizza Tower, I know, the fandom sucks dick or whatever, but let me give you an alternative that is just like Pizza Tower but better, and I think the fandom doesn't suck as much. Anton Blast. This game plays almost the same, but it does one distinct thing differently, which makes it leagues better than Pizza Tower in my opinion. It allows you to reach top speed almost instantly. And while some may think that makes the game significantly easier, the level design is built around reaching top speeds at will, making the game still difficult and fun. The game also has like funny items you can buy from the shop that won't change anything, but it will add an effect to the camera, which I think is really funny. You know, if you buy these like shutter shades, then your camera gets covered by the shutter shades. You get a hat, then like a little bit of the top of the camera gets covered by a hat. Like it's just small things like that like are optional to get that I think are just kind of cool. You can tell the devs just like added that because they thought it was funny. But Anton Blast is just, it's also just an extremely funny game. You know, the plot is just like Banjo-Kazooie's plot. Satan wants to be the reddest person in all of the world. And he finds out Anton is more red than him. So he tries to take Anton and steal his red to become the reddest being in all of the world. Like, and the price makes this a no-brainer too. For only $15, you get this amazing experience, amazing platform experience, and I can't recommend it enough. Everhood 1 and 2 are games that just appeared out of nowhere. There wasn't any build-up. They just showed up one day and left the next. But it is a unique game. It mixes RPG elements with rhythm game elements. And the first game, it has a different combat system. You don't really get into a real combat system until halfway or near the end of the game. But even then, it is a very watered down combat system compared to like the combat system in Everhood 2. But Everhood 2, that one is really cool. Because not only do you get the ability, like in the first game, to absorb attacks and send them back, you get different weapons that, you know, have different stats. And on top of that, if you save up even more, if you absorb like even more attacks, then you do even more damage. You do like bigger waves of damage, and it's really cool. The story is really confusing. I don't know what's going on in it. Personally, I've tried to pay attention to the story, but like, I played Everhood 1 like 3/4 of the way through, and then didn't touch it for another 4 years, came back, then beat the game, which I beat the game after I already played through the entirety of Everhood 2, so Everhood 2 really didn't make sense to me. But there's a story there. I don't know what it is, but you could find out, all for the insane price of $20. Oh yeah, they're each $20. That was a good segue. The humor and art style are very reminiscent of Undertale, so if you're also a fan of Undertale, I think this game would be nice for you. Like, they have a lot of crazy situations and stupid jokes and, you know, a fun, unique combat system. So if you like those things, this game is 100% for you. And like I said, it's about $20 per game. So Everhood 1 and 2 should both be like $20. This game, I've heard from some friends that you either heard of it and you fucking love the game, or you never heard of it. Like, so we're gonna do a test here, all right? I'm gonna put the title of the game on the screen, and if you don't know it, you can just sit there and be like, oh. But if you do know it, you gotta get up and scream. It doesn't matter where you're at. You know, it could be in the middle of class, you know, at work, at great grandpappy's funeral. I don't know why you'd be watching this video at a funeral, But if you're at a funeral, you're gonna get up and scream if you know this goddamn game, alright? So, here we go. Clone Drone in the Danger Zone is a roguelike game, and while the graphics don't look too good, they are this way for a very specific reason. The models are all made with cubes to make clean cuts or shots through like the model. And as the developers have said, it's their own voxel combat style. So when you swing at an enemy and you hit their shoulder, like clean in the shoulder, it cuts the whole arm off. And they'll still keep fighting. They'll finally die once they like physically can't do anything anymore. Like I'm pretty sure if you cut off both their legs and their arm, like one of their arms, they die. But it's really cool because you could just immediately go for what they're using to fight you. You like just cut off their arms and boom, they're useless. But it's just a really cool combat style, and it sucks they have to sacrifice graphics for that, but I still think the payoff is like worth it. Also, because of this combat style, you're able to do something that's really cool. If you know you're about to get hit and there's no way around it, you can try and sacrifice a limb that's not important. Certain weapons require certain limbs, like I'm pretty sure the bow you can use with only one hand, sword's only one hand, spear is two hand, and then hammer is two hand. And then you also have the ability to kick. So if you have like a hammer, a sword, and a spear, you could let them cut off your left arm, which then leaves your right arm intact, allowing you to still use your sword. So you're not out of the battle yet. Or somehow you could try and get them to like jump and have them cut off one of your legs. Because if they cut off one of your legs, you could still move at a way slower pace, but you can still move without sacrificing your weapons. So like having that level of strategy on top of it is really like cool. So you know, it just, man, it's great. And when you get good at the game, it just feels like you're going through a generational run in a gladiator pit. Like it's amazing. And the ability to like make specific builds and upgrades that fit your playstyle is like just that little extra cherry on top. You have the sword that's quick but doesn't do crazy damage unless you angle it right. The hammer, and as long as you hit an enemy with it, you'll do massive damage, but it's super slow. The bow is very fast and the only ranged option, but takes up a lot of your energy to use. And the spear is ass. It does no damage, and the shield upgrade ain't even helpful. Don't use the spear. So, having all these different playstyles is a huge bonus to the game, and it's only $15, which is super cheap for a game this fun and with this much content. It has story mode, countless challenges, multiplayer challenges, and multiplayer battles. It gets even better because Clone Drone in the Danger Zone has a sequel called Clone Drone in the Hyperdome, which is a VR game, which I did not get footage for because I'm not setting up my VR for like 5 minutes of footage. It gets even better because Clone Drone in the Danger Zone has a sequel called Clone Drone in the Hyperdome, which is a VR game that takes the Clone Drone formula and adds onto it, with an increased amount of weapons to make up for the lack of upgrades, and it also has a story mode to go through. And they still plan on updating it, as well as adding even more content past the story mode. So there's more coming to the game still. Which that game's also, I think it's like $20, $25. So if that sounds like the game for you, right there on Steam. It's even on, I know Clone Drone is also on Switch and PlayStation. It might be on Xbox too, but I don't check because I don't care. And the best game for last, Squirrel with a Gun. This game is a masterpiece. Even Sakurai would cry playing this game. You play as a squirrel that stole a secret device from the government, thinking it was an acorn, and ended up getting hunted down by the government, who are trying to reclaim their device. This game plays as a sandbox platformer where you just go around collecting new outfits and acorns, and as you make your way to the headquarters of the government that is in some fuck-ass local town, you know, you get access to more weapons and vehicles, which all surprisingly like changed the playstyle quite a bit. But this game is just, it's just stupid fun. If you want to turn your brain off and have a good time, this is 100% the game to buy. On Steam, the game's $20, but for some reason on PlayStation it's only $15. Unless that's changed, then my bad. The last time I checked, it was $15 on PlayStation, $20 on Steam, which is kind of weird. But if you want to save a couple bucks, get it on PlayStation instead. So while all these big AAA gaming companies are ruining gaming slowly by churning out slop title after slop title and slop console, and there's really can't excuse that one. But there are still a lot of indie games out there being made and that have already been made that are frankly amazing and worth, you know, spending your money on and spending time on. However, there are still some AAA titles that are being made that I think are also pretty worthwhile. So if you guys like this video enough and you want me to make another, I'm willing to do one on some of my AAA game recommendations. And if you want more indie game recommendations, I can also do that too. I have a lot more in my Steam library and even like on my other consoles, so if you guys want more recommendations, just let me know. And even if you guys want to recommend your own stuff, like some games that you personally, you know, really like and I didn't talk about in this video, which shit ton, just leave it in the comments. You know, I'll let you know if I've played it or not, and if I haven't, I'll take a look at it, see if I'd like it or not. And yeah. And then I will also leave a link to all of the games in the description. I know all of these games are on Steam, but I have no clue if all of them are on like consoles or not. I know certain ones are on like the Switch or the PlayStation, but I don't know if they're all on there, and I'm frankly too lazy to check. But I'll have all the Steam links in the description if you want to check that out as well, because like I said, these games are worth it. They are genuinely super fun to play. So, yeah, that's about it. See you.